You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is a program called The Wonderful World of Wardini Books, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio Lou from Wardini Books in Havelock North. How you going, Lou?
Very well, Ken. Yourself?
Well, fantastic. All the better for seeing you.
Oh, marvellous.
You've got 4 new fabulous books for us to talk about today, and we'll start off with a one which has got a great title, A Mighty Bitey Creature.
Yeah, this is a picture book for little people. It's by Rhonda Armitage and illustrated by Nikki Dyson, and it is really vibrantly illustrated. Nice bright colours, lots of green in the first one.
Yes.
All was quiet in the jungle until... Ouch! Cried Frog. Who did that? Who bit my lovely green bottom? He's got a lovely green bottom. So it's basically a little bit of a take on Chicken Licking. Do you remember that story?
Licking,
you know, the sky's falling down.
Yeah.
So the mighty bitey creature bites the little frog, and he runs and runs and runs. He must tell Lion about this nasty creature. He's king of the jungle. He'll know what to do. On his way, he then meets... who does he meet next? Monkey. And the creature bites him, and so they run off together, and there are a few more, and they run, and eventually they do get to the Lion King, who is bitten on the bum by the mighty bitey creature. But it's actually quite gorgeous, because when they find out what the mighty bitey creature is... Stand back, commanded Lion. Oh, what sort of a creature is that? I don't know, it's a teeny-weeny thing. It's a bush baby, in the end. It's a tiny, tiny... bush baby.
Look at that.
And the lion in his wisdom just figures out that it's hungry.
Yeah.
He's just biting everybody because he's hungry.
That's why he's the king of the jungle.
He's the king of the jungle. Yeah, so it's good night, baby, sleep tight, baby, and don't let your teeth bite any more bottoms.
And who's it going to appeal to? It's going to appeal to me. I'd love it.
Well, I think it kind of appeals to the grown-ups that have to read these books over and over and over.
Yeah.
And it's just got a lovely cadence to it, and it's almost got a Lion King look to the lion with his beautiful little teeth. So
big, sharp claws.
I just think it's, and there's a lot of that onomatopoeic sort of swishy swashy language in it too. So it's a nice one to read to of a child, probably 2 and up, 3 and up, that kind of age group.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it.
And the next book is Muddle and Moe's Rainy Day.
Muddle and Moe's Rainy Day by Nikki Slade Robinson. She does the words and she does the pictures, and these are very close to my heart because I've been meaning to meet this goat. Mo is the goat, and he's a real goat. He's Nikki Slade Robinson's goat.
Oh, yes.
And she bases her stories around him and his antics. Well, I think she makes a lot of it up. But he's a real goat, and my husband Gareth has met this goat.
Is he a local goat?
No, I think he's Whakatane way. I can't remember exactly where they live, but I was supposed to be going on this jaunt to see Moon, the goat. His full name is Moon. And I broke my ankle, so I couldn't go.
That's right, you did too.
Yeah.
So a celebrity goat.
I have yet to meet the celebrity goat. But in this one, this is the 3rd book featuring Muddle and Moe. Muddle is the duck, and he's called Muddle because he is a bit confused about life in general. But in this one, all he wants to do is stamp in the puddles. Come and jump in the puddles, Mo. But it turns out that goats really don't like the wet, and he wants to splash and sing and slide, and all sorts of things. And he just convinces him with the power of this awesome duck enthusiasm to jump about in the puddles. And of course, when he does, he just has the best day ever. And this is my favourite illustration, is when they are singing in the rain.
I love it.
And that is really gorgeous. So it is really a simple story, again, for sort of kids. You could read it to a 1-year-old. I think they're quite looking at Muddle and...
Yeah.
They like looking at Muddle and Moe. But it's the simplicity to it and the awesome little characters. I think that's very appealing.
And it's the funny thing, isn't it? Even at my age, I'm nearly getting my gold card. I still like jumping in puddles, especially when I've got the grandkids. It's great fun.
How'd you go in the autumn leaves?
Oh, I love that too.
Yeah.
Kick them around and throw them at people.
It's good to find that joy, isn't it?
You're listening to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the wonderful world of Wardini Books. Lou is in here from Wardini in Havelock North. Just remind our listeners where you are.
We're at 16 Tomato Road in Havelock.
And got a shop in Napier.
Yeah, we do. Yes, that's 44 Hastings Street.
Got a website.
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
You've got something else.
Instagram.
Whole lot.
YouTube channel. We don't do tweets though.
No.
Kidnappers do tweets, don't they?
We do, but we don't. We haven't got many people. We've only got 5 people like us.
Well, after this show, then you'll have 1 million.
We'll have 6.
Yeah, you'll go viral.
Our next book is called Phoebe and Her Unicorn. Everyone loves unicorns. They're sort of the toy of the moment, aren't they?
Unicorns are very now.
They are.
Yes. So I must explain that got mostly kids' books today because I started and got halfway through 2 grown-up ones and didn't like them, so I just put them down. So
That's
I can't review them.
unusual for you.
It is a bit, yeah. I just thought no. So I've had a bit of a run, but this one is a comic book. Really, it's a graphic novel, as they are known these days. Yeah, and these are. It's a lot more than you would think. So Phoebe's unicorn is called Marigold Heavenly Nostrils. And she is just a wonderful character, the unicorn, because she has this massive self-esteem. I mean, why wouldn't you if you're a unicorn? So she just thinks she is the best thing ever. But she has every right to believe that. So it's quite a good lesson for love yourself as you are. Yeah. It's that kind of message. But also she loves Phoebe as well. So they're really good mates. And they just get up to all sorts of shenanigans together. And what I really like about it is the language is quite sophisticated. They actually do have a glossary in the back. Phoebe has a mate called Max, who's a super nerd. So there are all sorts of things in the back of this one. Max's Guide to Power Plants, and it will tell you all about that. It will tell you how to make drinkable blue lightning in this one, because that crops up in the story. So it's a whole series of books. There are about 7 in the series. So if you've got a kid that can read but doesn't really want to, give them a book like this.
Too right.
Because it's not too onerous. You could sit and read it in an hour.
Yep.
But again, it's very engaging, and there's nothing dumbed down in it. So I really rate that series. Interesting
point that you mentioned there. A graphic novel. Don't they call them comics anymore?
Not usually. I think there's a bit of a stigma attached to a comic. Yeah. You know, when you're just reading a comic, it's worthless, and they're not, as we all know. But
can
if you
still get comics
novel,
like the Beano and the Dandy, or they call them?
You can still get them. Yeah. They're a bit harder to come by because they're all shipped over from the UK. So,
yeah, fair enough.
I forgot to tell you who wrote that. That was Dana Simpson, Phoebe and her unicorn.
And the last book is called Small Spaces.
Yeah, this is by Sarah Epstein, who's an Australian author. This is her first book, but she's clearly been thinking about this for a long time, because the plot is just so convoluted, gives it a negative connotation, doesn't it? But it's complex, and it's a young adult novel, but like the best young adult novels, adults read them too. Proper grown-ups read them too. So this is about a young lady called Tash, and she's got some pretty bad sort of anxiety issues. And it all stems back to something that happened when she was about 8. There was a girl in their town that went missing, that was maybe abducted. They don't really know what happened to her. But she's found about a week later and never speaks again, this young girl, Mallory, that went missing. Just before this happened at a carnival, spooky carnival sort of place.
Clowns.
Yeah, exactly. Something weird had been happening to Tash. She was staying with her Auntie Allie, and this kind of shady, shadowy character called Sparrow, who she names Sparrow, turns up, and she kind of thinks he's an imaginary friend, because years later in therapy they're all saying, well, you made him up for attention, he's imaginary. And so she comes to believe that he's imaginary. But is he, Ken?
Yeah, he's not, by the sound of it.
He may not be. So there's a twist and a turn, and years later, when they're all teenagers, this family of the disappeared girl come back to Tash's hometown, and it unravels it all again for her, and she can't trust anything that she thinks, because she doesn't know if it's true or not. And weird stuff starts to happen, inexplicable things, and everyone thinks that Tash is just being attention-seeking, but she has to unravel this mystery. And it was just, Sparrow, as a character, is completely terrifying. So it's one of those where you love to be scared books. Yeah, so I read it so quickly because I had to know what happened.
Now, you say it was complex, but does complex mean that it's not easy to follow, or is it easy to follow the plot?
No, it is easy to follow. It's easy to follow the plot. But I like that. I like, oh, this is going on, and good grief, what's happening there? You know, so you're guessing, and then you're second guessing, and it's not that, and it might be this, and it's a wonderful, enjoyable experience.
Lou, as always, our pleasure to talk to you. Just remind our listeners before you get back to work, you've got 2 shops, one in Havelock. What street?
Tomato Road.
Napier.
Why can I never remember this? Hastings Street.
Good on you, Lou. As always, our pleasure. You look after yourself. We'll talk to you same time, same place next time.
Cool. Thank you, Ken.